Greetings, Diski fam. Welcome to another episode of the Sisonke Diski Chat right here on Vodacom's YouTube channel. My name is Len Moleko, and this is a show where we speak to legends of South African football who've played for the biggest teams in Mzansi. I'm talking about Orlando Pirates. I'm talking about Kaizer Chiefs. And we do have such people joining us today on the show. First up, I'm going to introduce a former Orlando Pirates striker, Phumudzo, the bold and the beautiful Manendze. Phumudzo, welcome to the Sisonke Diski Chat once again.
Hey, Len, to you and our viewers, our listeners, I just want to say it's great to be here. I'm happy to be back, and I can't wait to have a scamto with you and chat with you.
Thank you very much, Phumudzo. And we are also joined by former Kaizer Chiefs midfielder, Josta Dladla. Josta, welcome to the Sisonke Diski Chat once again.
Thanks for having me, and I don't know why you have to end up with me. You're supposed to start with me. I don't know why you're starting with a former Pirates player. For me, that's hey man, I'm angry already,
No,
but
don't worry. Don't worry, Josta. They are starting with people with a star, eh? We will start with people with a star.
But thanks for having me, Lenny, as always, my brother.
We're actually going to start the show today with obviously that conversation. We saw Kaizer Chiefs being the only South African team that went as far as the finals of a continental competition, that being the CAF Champions League. A lot of people did not give them a chance to get as far as they got. So on this, Phumudzo, I'm going to come to you, but I'm going to start with Josta first. Josta, I remember we had a conversation and you spoke about taking it one game at a time until you get to the final. When we had this conversation, did you think that Chiefs would get as far as they did?
Nah. I'm gonna be honest as my boy, and obviously I think Moto would know that I'm always honest. To be honest with you, with the squad and how the squad started at the beginning of the season, we all know that Kaizer Chiefs went through a whole lot. It took them the last game to qualify for top 8, and they surprised people to get to the final. Now you know how it is when footballers, the more games you win, the more hope they get. So as much as in the domestic league, Chiefs didn't do that well, somehow everything just went well for them in the Champions League. But I mean, then again, that's competition football. Competition football, it doesn't matter, how well you've been playing in the league. It's just like one chance. You need to go out there and do your job. And if you don't do the job on the day, nothing happens. For me, it was a surprise. I was happy that they were there. They went to the final. I also had hope that, they got there. They might actually surprise people to win it as well. But when they lost, now a lot of people started saying a lot of funny things. That comes with the territory. But to be honest with you, I think most of us expected them to get to the final. Now they get to the final. Now suddenly we're expecting miracles. But they're playing against one of the top teams in Africa. And the team that is actually still playing in domestic football. They played 3 league games before the final. And when it comes to Chiefs, the last time they played, it was a long time ago. But that shouldn't be an excuse. I think on the day, Ahly wanted it more. And they exposed us as the team that obviously wasn't doing that well during the season. We expected Chiefs to survive the league. We didn't expect them to go all the way to the final. But big up to the players, they did well, and the coach can only build from where the team left off last season.
I want to come back to you, Josta, again. Phumudzo, I saw you breaking down the game, obviously, on Saturday on television. Where do you think it went wrong, if anything did go wrong? Because one can argue that, yes, there was a red card that could have thrown the game out of the window for Kaizer Chiefs. But do you think there was something going wrong, or they were just up against a very formidable opponent?
I think before the game started, I said it's against all odds for Kaizer Chiefs, because obviously they had met Ahly before in 2002 in the Super Cup, where they lost the game by 4-1. And looking at Ahly against South African opposition, it was always going to be difficult, because Ahly had come up against Mamelodi Sundowns, beaten them in the CAF Champions League final. They came up against Orlando Pirates in 2013, and they also dismantled Orlando Pirates and won that. So coming into the game, the history and the stats did not favor a South African team against Ahly. But coming into the game, I thought that the first 40 to 45 minutes, I thought Kaizer Chiefs looked solid. I thought distances between the lines were very good. A player like Afsha, Al-Shahata and Sharif up front, they couldn't find the space able to create clear-cut chances. And it all went wrong when the red card was given to Epi Mashiani. I hope that young man recovers from this. Don't blame himself forever for that red card. It happens to the best in football. And I thought when the young man Epi Mashiani got a red card, I thought that was the game end. But that's where you needed the technical team to come up, because I thought the red card happened in the critical phase of the game, concentration phase of the game, a minute or two before the game went to half time. And Happy made a tackle. He mistimed his tackle, and unfortunately the refs thought it was a yellow card, but VAR was there to say no, have a look again. And when they had a look again, they thought it was a red card. That's where the game turned for me, Len, because I thought Sport Baxter was going to make a tactical substitution, but he made a substitution where you can say it was like for like. I thought that if Stuart Baxter had made a tactical change where Kaizer Chiefs was solid, they were compact, I thought the change that he would have made was substitute the young Ngobo. Yes, the correct man to take out, but not the correct man to come in, because I thought he would have brought Ngezane in to go and play with a back four, then move Reinforcement to midfield. We know how versatile he is. Then Kaizer Chiefs would have had 7 players behind the ball at all times. It was going to be very difficult for Pizzo and this Al-Ali team to be able to break down Kaizer Chiefs. And I thought when he made a substitution like for like, bringing on Kama Billiard, who had not played for 2 to 3 months without competitive football, to come in and expect Billiard to be chasing back where we know it's not his strength, it was always going to be very difficult for Kama Billiard, who had not played in 3 months.
All right, Josta, I'm going to take it to you. Obviously, we were speaking about the incident with Epi Mashiani getting a red card, crucial game, a final. As a player, playing in a game as big as a final of a CAF Champions League, you get a red card where at that point of the game, you can still give your team a chance of still maybe clawing their way into the game. What does that do to you? I mean, with any red card for that matter, whether it's a cup final or it's a league game, because a red card is a red card, and it sort of like gives your team numerical disadvantage in any game.
Moto can tell you, playing against a 10-man team, one of the difficult things to play against. Because I think you automatically, you thinking that you know that you got to work harder. You are short with one man. And most of the team, they thinking that, by getting a red card, it's always going to be easier for the team that's got all 11 players on the field. Maybe for me, the substitution, just to defend, the Kaizer Chiefs coach a bit there, maybe he didn't want to be too defensive. Probably said, okay, we got a red card, but we still want to keep our game plan. Still going to go forward. But obviously, backfire. You're playing against a big team here that is players that played in a Champions League for a few times. They played in a World Champion a few times. Probably that's why the more the game went, you could see mistakes happening at the Kaizer Chiefs side, because obviously they get tired. When you're 10 men, if you're not going to put in 100% on your game, the game is going to catch up with you. You're going to start getting fatigued. Plus you never played for a while, and now you're playing against a team that just played 2 weeks before you.
Okay, we heard Josta say that playing against 10 men is very difficult, Phumudzo. Yeah. And a lot of people did not give Kaizer Chiefs a chance against Ahly. Overall, how would you sum up their season? Because it's sort of like they had 2 separate seasons, a season at home and a season on the continent. In totality, how would you sum up Kaizer Chiefs' season 2020-2021?
I think before I speak about 2020 and 2021, you'll have to take it slightly back and paint a picture of what happened at Kaizer Chiefs. It started by losing the championship on the last day against Mamelodi Sundowns. I thought psychologically and mentally that damaged the confidence of the players. So starting with the new season, there was a lot of concern, especially the mental strength of the players, to say the confidence has been knocked. how are they going to be able to deal with this? The season started, and obviously when they are playing locally, a lot of the players and the coaches, they know the history of Kaizer Chiefs as to what happened the previous season. So you knock on their confidence. And Josta will tell you that when you're playing against somebody, you'll always tell them, if somebody scored an own goal the previous weekend and he has to defend against me, I'll always remind that person, just to try and frustrate them and remind them of the bad. So that's what happened on the pitch when teams were playing against Kaizer Chiefs, locally especially, because the players were always kept reminding them to say, you guys, you're not good enough. You lost it on the last 30 minutes of the season. And that was working on some of the players' minds. And for the mere fact that Kaizer Chiefs could not sign players in the start of this season also played a part, because a lot of the players were also unsure. It works on the psyche of the players. They were not able to sign players. Yes, let's look at how many players Kaizer Chiefs had lost in the previous season. I can say George Maluleke left Kaizer Chiefs to go to Mamelodi Sundowns. That is one noticeable player that left. Nakovic could not start the season because of injuries. So it meant that two players were not there for Kaizer Chiefs, which made it very difficult for them, because those two players were very important, especially in midfield and also in the attack for Kaizer Chiefs. Going on the continent is always good, because those teams don't know much about the players they're playing against. All they know is the video analysis that they see 2 weeks before they play those players. They don't really know those players' weaknesses and strength. And I think Kaizer Chiefs used that to their advantage on the continent, because they were playing against players that were not chipping at them. They were not playing against players that were saying negative things about the previous season against them. And I thought that's where they did very well. I think a lot of credit must also go to Gavin Hunt, who got them as far as the semi-finals. A lot of credit must go to Arthur Zwane and Dylan Shepherd that got the team to the final, and Stuart Baxter got the opportunity to sit on the bench. His debut for Kaizer Chiefs was actually the final over the weekend. So it was two different Kaizer Chiefs, it seems, but it was the very same players. Players like Katsande were used more on the continent than locally. So locally we saw a lot of young players given an opportunity, but when they went on the continent, that's where we saw even Bernard Parker getting to wear the captain's arm belt, and his experience was vital. Knowing Parker even represented Bafana, even played overseas, his experience was crucial on the continent.
As a player at a very young age, playing in a game as big as the Champions League final, how much does that do for your confidence, and also building up for a Kaizer Chiefs that needs to get ready for the 2021-2022 season?
Come to think about it, me and Phumudzo, we started at a young age in the game. And as a youngster, you're not scared of anything. You've never been kicked in your life, nothing. All you want to do is just to prove that to the older guys that, I'm faster than you guys. I know football. I'm fresher than you guys. And the older guys want to do what? They want to show you that, they're tougher and stronger than you. So it's all about competition. And I think, it's about time that South African teams are promoting youngsters. And I'm happy that, Kaizer Chiefs is doing that, because Parker's not going to be there forever. Katsande is not going to be there forever, And when the senior players never stepped up when the season started, who stepped up? It was the youngsters that started carrying Kaizer Chiefs, to be honest with you. That's the truth. The bigger guys, they were just getting booed everywhere. They were just not playing the game that we normally know them for. And the youngsters that stepped up, they're the ones that carried Kaizer Chiefs to where it is right now. And then when you go to the Champions League side, now you need to make a mixture of the senior players and the younger players. So that worked for Kaizer Chiefs as well. So as much as we need the youngsters. The youngsters, need guidance from the bigger players. The older players, as much as we in South Africans' mentality is that, when you turn 30 or 32, you finished. But they don't understand what experience you come with in the game, and the game still needs those type of players in the game. You know what I mean? We're not saying they're going to be there forever, but people need to understand that, youngsters and senior players have to work hand in hand to build a team. What is a team without a foundation? What is a house without a foundation? And this is an example of Kaizer Chiefs showing people that, if they bought the players last season that they wanted, you wouldn't have seen most of the youngsters that played. Now, these players now, they actually secured their contracts for next season. Even if new players are coming in, they have to work for those places. They have to work harder to take out those youngsters out. So now we're going to find more competition in the game, in the Kaizer Chiefs game. And that, if there's more competition in the Kaizer Chiefs game, so then what Kaizer Chiefs will play better, because everybody that goes in there will want to do the job for the coach.
Now, Phumudzo, a lot of people came out, a lot of rivals came out saying that Chiefs never stood a chance against Ahly. Do you feel that was the case, or was it one of those where it bent in South African football? You know, like you started with Josta and Josta saying, oh, you were saying to him that no, people with a star or people without a star are the ones that are going to start the conversation. Did we really feel that Chiefs had a chance? Considering a lot of Pirates fans were coming out saying that they are friends of the team from North Africa. A lot of the Sundowns fans were coming out saying the same thing.
Never means it.
There was a disjoint of South African fans not being behind Amakosi for this crucial game. And 3 stars in one country would have been a first for the African continent, if I'm not mistaken.
Len, we need to be. I know there was banter on social media, and we always joke around about Chief supporters, Pirates, and also Mamelodi Sundowns supporters. But when you're looking at the facts, you need to look at the quality of the players. With all respect to the Kaizer Chiefs players, Mohamed El Shinawi in goals for Ahly. He played for Egypt. He has been amazing for them this season. Has kept 16 clean sheets for them in all competitions. He becomes a very important player. Benoun, the centre back from Morocco, very important, solid. With his ball with the ball on his feet, he's very solid. Fatih in midfield. El Soli in the man that scored the 3rd goal for them. Then you've got Mohamed Sharif up front, who in 36 appearances for Al Ahly had scored 20 goals for them. He's amazing. He set up the 3 goals. He was involved in those 3 goals. You looked at his quality and thought, will Matoe and Cardoso be able to deal with that? Afsha, the man that jersey number 19, the playmaker, El Shahata, they just had an amazing team. When you looked at that team, and for the mere fact that that team is the team that won the Champions League last season with Phumudzo Manendze. So those players had been together for long. They are from the Club World Cup. They've won the Super Cup. It's an Al Ahly team that had won 9 Champions League before this weekend. They made it number 10 this weekend. And you looked at the experience and the pedigree of these players. And there was also a key factor that says, Josta mentioned it earlier, to say Kaizer Chiefs had 20 days. The last time Kaizer Chiefs played was on the 26th of June. They had 20 days without competitive football. When you look at Al Ahly, in those 20 days that we're speaking about, they had played 5 games, won 4 of those 5 games and drew 1, scoring 15 goals. That's 3 goals. They average 3 goals a game. 3 clean sheets that they've kept in that period that I'm speaking about. So it was against all odds for Kaizer Chiefs to really come up against this Al Ahly team. Let's not forget, they have a coach that knows South African football inside out. Phumudzo Manendze is an encyclopedia of African football. And that also had to be put on the table to say, no, they don't know us, they don't know Kaizer Chiefs only on videos or on paper. They know the players well. They know the players personally. Phumudzo has coached Billiard. Phumudzo has coached Ramam Patlele. He knows the players well. Kevin Johnson is also there. So with all of that, those are facts that were against Kaizer Chiefs on the day. I know that as rival supporters, they are not going to really support Kaizer Chiefs. They might say that they were supporting Kaizer Chiefs, but deep down in their hearts, Len, we all know that Sundowns and Orlando Pirates supporters, they want that uniqueness to say they are the only ones with star on top of their badge.
Josta, I'm going to come to you. What can Kaizer Chiefs take out of the season that has just passed, with how far they got in the Champions League, with them managing to get into the top 8, with the final game of the season, now looking back at all the hurdles that were in front of them or the biggest hurdle that was in front of them is now gone. They are able to sign players. New season is coming up. They are going to be playing the Black Label Cup very soon. What should they take out of this? And considering they only have a week of rest, they can even call it rest, because after that they have to hit the ground running because the Black Label Cup is
man, they have to, like you said, they have to hit the ground running. I mean, last season nobody gave them a chance. To be honest, I also like one of those players that when you ask me and say, do you think like Kaizer Chiefs gonna win the next game? I was like, hey, dude, let's see how it's gonna pan out, you know. But I think towards the last 3 months of the season, the attitude just started changing, and then you just saw the team just playing for each other. The goals coming in, they were not conceding that much. They didn't do well only because at the back they were making a lot of mistakes, and their sharpshooter were not scoring like he used to the last season. And this season, like, he started. Obviously, he was injured when the team started, but when he came back, he was not the same player that he was next season. But now they need to make the right signings. Right signings for me, I think it's key. Like getting the right centre backs, right back, left back, centre midfielder. Because up front they do have the strikers. They just need somebody that's going to supply them with those balls to score those goals. So I mean, you got the youngsters that actually have lifted their hands and say, we want to be part of the team. All you can do for me with the team, how it started last season, getting silver medal is not that bad. Winning the gold medal could have been like, even better. Getting the star on the t-shirt could have been even much better, but you can build from what you did last season. Now you know your players. You know you can add up 2 players there and there. I think the nation never gave Kaizer Chiefs a chance. And that's the truth that, what Phumudzo is saying. As much as a lot of people were saying, we want them to win. There was Chiefs win, right? But as a nation at the same time, it would have been nice to see them winning. But were most of the people really confident enough that they were going to beat Ahly? I don't think so. If you had to talk to a lot of people, they would tell you that, we knew that they wouldn't beat Ahly. You know what I mean?
But they managed to beat Vida.
Yeah?
They managed to beat Wydad Casablanca in the semi-finals.
Yeah, now you're talking about Ahly, my brother. When you play against Ahly, I mean, I've played against those guys. The football that they're playing is like, it's ridiculous. They don't play like, most African teams. They basically play like, most European teams. I'm not saying they can't be beaten, but you need to be really, really top. Like, you need to be like really physically fit and mentally fit and understanding the game even more to beat them. And I think for me, with the youngsters that Kaizer Chiefs has, and with where they ended last season, big up to them. I'll give them the hand, and I can only build for next season and see next season what they can achieve.
All right, Phumudzo, Josta just sort of gave me a summary of Kaizer Chiefs' season, both locally and on the continent. Because we are a brand behind 2 of Mzansi's biggest teams, I'm going to go to Orlando Pirates because I'm not going to spare them from understanding and just getting your views in terms of how their season went. Yes, they won a trophy from that trophy, the top 8 trophy. That's what we call it. How can you sum up Orlando Pirates' season, both in the local league and on the continent, considering they almost got as far as Kaizer Chiefs did, but unfortunately they fell at the last hurdle?
Before I go to Orlando Pirates, Glenn, I just want to say, for me, the highlight of the Kaizer Chiefs season would be a 21-year-old Nkosing Phile Ngcobo, having played 39 games for them in all competitions, scoring 4 goals, 2 assists, being able to be selected to go to the Olympics. That's a find, because if Chiefs were able to sign players, we're not going to see that 21-year-old shining at Kaizer Chiefs. And Njabulo Blom, also at 21, played 45 games in all competitions for Kaizer Chiefs this season. Amazing. Talking about Happy Mashiane, very unfortunate in the final to get a red card. One of the finds of the season for me, for Kaizer Chiefs. Ngezane is also 23. So it's all those 4 under-23 players that we're speaking about that were given an opportunity because Kaizer Chiefs couldn't sign players. I thought those 4 players, Kaizer Chiefs can build from there together with the new signings that they have made. So I'm I'm a product of development, so I'm always happy to see young players being given an opportunity to shine.
Moving on to Orlando Pirates.
I think ezimnyama ngenkani, I think one thing that as a technical team or as a technical person having to do introspection about yourself, Orlando Pirates will say last season they finished third. The season before this one, they finished third, and they were the 6th best defense in the league. No trophy. Now we go to last season and look at Orlando Pirates' performance. They won the MTN 8. That's a plus from the previous season. They are third, the same as the previous season. They qualify for the Confederations Cup. The other improvement that Orlando Pirates has from this season is they're the 2nd best defense in the league. So there's an improvement defensively with Orlando Pirates, and I think you can only kick on. And when you're looking at the PSL, there's only 3 teams with trophies from last season. Orlando Pirates won 1, TTM won the other one, and the other one went to Mamelodi Sundowns. It's just for Orlando Pirates to beef up their team to try and compete. I'm happy that the chairman, Dr. Evan Koza, has already beefed up the technical team, bringing in Mandla Ncigazi, who I think will add a lot of spice into that technical team. We know he's coming from Golden Arrows. We know the type of football Golden Arrows were playing, entertaining football, short passing, combination play, easy on the eye, creating opportunities. I just hope that Mandla Ncigazi will bring that to Orlando Pirates as an addition to that technical team. We know that a lot of teams, Mamelodi Sundowns, had 3 top coaches last season. Kaizer Chiefs had 3. They had Kevin Hunt, they had Dylan Shepard and Athazwani. Orlando Pirates only had the 2, Joseph Zimbabwe and also Fadlu Davis. So I think the addition will be a great addition to the technical team. 3 minds are going to add a lot of impetus to the Orlando Pirates way of playing. Coming to the playing staff, I think I'm excited about a couple of the signings that they've made. I've been a big fan of Goodman Mosele. I think 2 seasons ago he was the best young player in the PSL. Attributes, breaks up play, a defensive midfielder, a deep lying playmaker, a good shot on him, good diagonal balls to be able to switch play and start play for Orlando Pirates. It's not going to be easy for him to break into that Orlando Pirates midfield where there's Fortune Makaringa, Ben Mutswari, Munari, but a young 21-year-old that is at the Olympics as we speak, going to represent the country. I hope that he's going to come back with that experience and be able to add to the Buccaneers. There's also the young man that we saw in the COSAFA from Free State Stars, Sanele, if I'm not mistaken by the name. We saw him in the COSAFA Cup for Bafana. He has won the COSAFA Cup. He scored 13 goals for Free State Stars last season, a good addition, an offensive midfielder that can play out on the left and also can play in a 10 position. So those 2 for me are really exciting, and they are good options as new signings. Also, what I love is Kwanda Ngonyama, also the addition. We were always complaining that Orlando Pirates' weakness when it comes to defense is aerial balls that are played into the box. Kwanda brings that aerial prowess. He's going to add competition for Epijele, Nyawuza, and also Hlatwayo, which when there's competition, the team stands to benefit from that. And I'm happy that they've made those signings. And I think all the best to Orlando Pirates and the technical team.
I'm actually excited. A lot of youngsters that are coming up, they're coming up with the game that we know Kaizer Chiefs will have. They've got flair. They're not scared to keep the ball. And I just hope that they take this confidence that they had at the Champions League, bring it back to the domestic league. And they've learned a lot. They've surprised a lot of people. There's a lot of signings that are coming up as well. And there's still probably going to be a lot of surprising signings that Chiefs is going to do. All I'm wishing for is sign the right players for the right positions. I think most of the time we just sign players not looking at where we're lacking. You know what I mean? And I think if we can do that right, and if Bobby can do that right, like, Kaizer Chiefs will be back where it's supposed to be. Not number 3, number 1 or number 2. We know the other guy likes to be third all the time in the league, So it's all good. He can keep that third place. But I think I'm gunning for first place this season. At least just win one cup, yeah. You know what I mean? Because last season, like when I spoken to you, Lenny, I said to you, for me, if Kaizer Chiefs it's just survival mode. They have to be on survival mode. You know what I mean? But they actually got to that place where a comfortable place to getting into the top 8. That's credit. And they also went all the way to the final. That's credit. Because to be honest with you, most of us didn't think that they were going to do that well. So now they got the foundation. Now they can start building and start to win maybe 1 trophy or 2 trophies next season. Plus they've got a coach that actually is going to give I think it's going to give Sundowns a run of their money. Sundowns is not going to run away with the league this season like they did last season. Because you all know that Stuart Baxter is one of those people that plans well, and then he makes the players to believe that they can go out there and win games. And it's going to be difficult. And it's about time. Last season there was no competition that much for Sundowns, and I think this season Sundowns is going to get competition from most of the teams that are coming up.
You guys spoke about the Carling Black Label Cup. The Carling Cup obviously taking place on the 1st of August at the Orlando Stadium. And Vodacom subscribers actually have a chance to get to vote for free. All they need to do is get a unique code and then dial *120 *6660 660 hash. And then they can vote for whoever it is that they want to be in the starting lineup and vote for the man of the match. But now, you guys, I'm going to start with you, Josta.
Yeah.
You've got your unique code. You've got your Vodacom number. You're going *120 *6660 hash. Tell me 5 Kaizer Chiefs players that you would vote for to be in that starting lineup for the 1st of August in the Carling Black Label Cup.
No, well, okay. Kune, for me, definitely he's gotta go back. For me, I think people say he's done, but for me, Kune, that would be my first pick, and then Tawa, and then I'll go for the young Ngobo, Mashiani for me, and then Mr. Sniper, the Sabian up front. So those are my 5 players.
So no Castro, no Katande.
No, I know that I hate the guys. You ask for my 5. Those are the 5.
Okay.
I know that they can do the job for me. So they don't try now and swinging other names. And I trust all the other players, but those are the 5 that I would vote for at that point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Phumudzo, *120 *660 hash. You are voting. Who are the 5 Baganea players that make your starting 11 for the 1st of August?
I think a lot of people know me to be a statsman, a factual man. So for me, I will start with Vincent Pule. 9 goals last season, 4 assists for Orlando Pirates. He was the top goal scorer for Orlando Pirates in all competitions. Vincent Pule, he selects himself on the left. Then you have to go to up front where Tshegofatso Mabasa, I hope that is injury-free now. 8 goals last season. Tshegofatso Mabasa, aerially very good, holds the ball up, brings the players into play. I think one thing that has improved in his game was his positioning in the previous season. So Tshegofatso Mabasa, for me, will also have the nod. MTN 8 player of the season, Dion Otto. 1v1 situations, movement of the ball. Since he got to Orlando Pirates, he's mastering the half spaces. He knows how to get in between the lines. Dion Otto, for me, becomes a very important player. Ben Mutwari, the shield in front of that back four. He's the wiper. Fire. He's standing there with a fire extinguisher. He switches off any fire that is started by the opponent. Breaks up play. He's able to start play. He drives Orlando Pirates forward. A box-to-box midfielder with a lot of energy. And obviously, it will have to be Captain Fantastic for me, Happy Jelle. his leadership qualities for me are second to none in that Orlando Pirates team. A good leader, aerially very sound, a ball-playing centre-back for me. His communication skills, organizational skills for Orlando Pirates is something that he has that is unique from all the defenders that are there. Happy Jelle becomes a very important player for me. In goals, I'll go with Richard Ofori. I think if he can stay injury-free, I thought that the injury that he got during the season really turned the season around for Orlando Pirates. A good shot stopper, needs to improve when it comes to crosses, good positioning. He handles the ball well, he communicates well. I love the way he commands his box whenever he's in goals for Orlando Pirates. So those are the players.
Yeah, but I want to add up one player. If I had to take out Mashiane, then there's this boy from Swallows, Sukhota. He's gonna be like a player to Washington, and watch out for that one, Phumudzo. That left winger boy is gonna give you right back a problem. I like how he's more positive. You know, every time he gets the ball, he wants to take from players, putting balls in the box, and I hope that the fans vote for that boy. And it's about time because we've been playing with no wingers. We believe in this wing backs. That's old school, guys. You know, or maybe Brazilians do it better than us. But I would like to see like Kaizer Chiefs playing with like a left winger and a right winger. They've bought a right player now, Oiling Kaugelo, and Kaugelo from Swallows. I think for me, if they give him a chance, he's going to show like he's going to give us what we've been lacking. Because we've got big guys in the box, but they hardly get supply.
All right, prediction time before we get out of here. I'm going to start with you, Josta. Carling Black Label, Carling Cup, Chiefs versus Orlando Pirates. You mentioned something about penalties. I'm not sure if you're still sticking to that.
As penalties, you know, obviously he always. I want him to take it. You know, I don't like to win this Black Label because it comes with a whole lot of Italy party. So you know, the party so that's why I'm saying penalties so you can take it. And that, the most important thing for me is like, you know, top 8 and the league.
Phumudzo, because party.
There's nothing like that. Carling Black Label, they always say it's your game, your the power is with the supporters to really select the team that they want. Those are the most important stakeholders that have got the power. And I think looking at the team that they've selected so far with Vincent Pule, that lineup, Dion Otto, they've got Capatino Mango, Lodge, and up front, Sakele Lipasa. I think that team has got a lot of goals in them. I see Orlando Pirates winning that game by 3-1. And that's the way we are going to start the season. Orlando Pirates. We want to send a very loud message. This season, we mean business. And the one thing, Len, before I go, because we started the conversation as a Champions League review, I just want to say congratulations to Phumudzo Manendze, a South African man, a South African coach. He had 4 other South Africans on the bench. I think you can talk about Kevin Johnson, Musi, Cabello, and the other name I'm forgetting, but they had 5 technical men on that bench of Ahly. They were South Africans. I want to say to Phumudzo, congratulations to Jingles. I think he won the Champions League last season and he was able to defend it. He now has 3 Champions League medals. Phumudzo Manendze, the special one, the only one. And I just want to say congratulations to Jingles, to say he keeps improving. He keeps showing the continent that as South Africans we are capable. And this is black excellence at its best.
Yeah, true.
Thank you very much, Phumudzo. Last word from you, Josta.
Like all I can say is obviously the trend. Sundown started the trend with having like 24 coaches on the bench, right? And now you see a whole lot of teams doing it. And I like it worked for Sundowns and all of that. It's about time, like, you know, we bring back people that know the game back into the game. It can only, like, you know, make South African football better. You know, it's not about the paycheck. It's not about enriching people. But these people that have been in the game for a long time, they'll teach these kids the right things. And then if the team is doing well continentally and at home, and they get the right information from the right people that played the game, you can see the difference. And Peter is an example of that. Sundowns is an example of that. Kaizer Chiefs is an example of that. They went all the way to the Champions League, and you look at who's sitting on the bench. And now Pirates is doing the same thing. They're bringing a whole lot of people there. You know, you can. It's about time that South Africa starts seeing what is training out there and what is working out there in the world, so we can be like how the best in the world do it. And I'm happy to see the bosses actually following the trends. Then we're gonna start seeing all the good players coming out and playing good football. We're gonna start watching football like we used to, and I'm happy for that. And I hope all the teams are gonna be following in that footsteps. I don't know what you say, Phumudzo.
I think it's what we were speaking about earlier. I think I mentioned it, Len, when I was speaking about the improvement that has been made in the Orlando Pirates technical team this season, adding Mandla Ncikazi, which is going to be a very important factor. Josta is speaking about Kaizer Chiefs. We know Molefi Ntseki is there, former Bafana coach. Stuart Baxter is there, former Bafana coach. Arthur Zwane is there, a young South African coach. Dylan Shepherd, young South African coach. Let's not forget Fatlu Davies is there. There's Joseph Zimbao. So it's good to have all these great minds working together. And I would love to pick up from what Steve Kompela said when he signed at Mamelodi Sundowns last season. He said one reason that he took that challenge at Mamelodi Sundowns was to show South Africa that if we stand together, we can achieve. And he said he wanted to prove to people that, yes, there might be three on that technical bench of Mamelodi Sundowns, but the important thing and the positive that he wants people to get from that is that as South African, we can work together and be able to achieve. Mamelodi Sundowns has the league with those working together. We have never had any stories of them or the three of them not getting along. So it is a good thing that is happening and it's working in world football. Why don't we do it as South Africa? So Mamelodi Sundowns do it well. It's the norm now to have a head coach and two assistant coaches that are helping him. But I know Mandla Ncikazi is coming in and is coming in with the PSL trophy at the end of the season.
Oh, okay. That's a bold. That's a bold prediction right there.
Ikuphindele yona Len ukuthi ukhona ukuyibamba kahle urecord. Orlando Pirates have added Mandla Ncikazi as part of their technical team. This is 1 point in the season. He was leading the league with Golden Arrows. His addition, Fatlu Davids and Joseph Zimbao, and the quality players that Orlando Pirates have signed, I see them lifting the DStv Premiership at the end of the season.
When you stay in number third, like you used to. You stay in there, you're not moving there, and I'm going to be on top of you, at the end of the season. Number one, I'm going for that number one. When you stay in number three.
When I am moving from number 8, don't be too ambitious. Remember that you're moving from number 8. It's a long way to get to number 1 from number 8.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
I'm moving from number 3 to number 1. We're not number 8.
Yeah, that's why. But I'm telling you, we're going to be up there. By the end of the season, we're going to be talking about getting school.
We're going to have this conversation. I want to continue this conversation with you guys just before the season starts, because we would have seen all the signings. We would have seen all the beautiful jerseys that the teams are going to be playing with for the upcoming season. So for now, we will just leave it at the Carling Cup, because you've made your predictions. We'll see that. And then based on what we see at the Carling Cup and just before the season starts, we'll have this conversation together. And hopefully you can put your cases on the table, and then we'll see from the business that the teams would have done how things will be going for the upcoming season. But for now, I'd like to say thank you very much, gentlemen, for a very constructive, a very informative conversation that we've had right here on the Sisonke Diski Chat. And yeah, can I do this?
Hey, Lenny, come on. That's good. That's good, bro. That's good. And I just hope that the fans are not going to let me down, man. They must pick the right players. We all know, all the players, can play out there. Make the right choices. So tomorrow you don't blame anybody. We all know that Black Label is all about the fans. So it's your turn now to be the coach and do, use that, power right. You know what I mean? So I hope now, Phumudzo, you telling your own friends to do the right thing, boys.
No. My fans have selected a very balanced team. I'm happy about that. My fans have changed from what the coach is usually doing, playing with 2 defensive midfielders. Our champion supporters have only selected 1 defensive midfielder, and that is Ben Mutwari. They've got Dion Otto, Pule, they've got Lodge, they've got Mango, they've got Lipasa. So I've got all the faith in Amapagania. Our champion supporters of Orlando Pirates have selected a balanced team. Amapagania, we are starting with the Carling Black Label Cup, and that's how we're going to send a message for this season. Up the Bucks, we are taking it all.
I don't know someone really go pick and pay, boy. Yeah, we still shopping. So.
And to the fans out there at home, don't forget, if you want to pick your team, your starting 11, your man of the match, your captain for the Carling Cup taking place on the 1st of August at the Orlando Stadium, it's very simple. If you're a Vodacom subscriber, it's free when you dial *120 *660#, and you can pick some of the names that Phumudzo told you, some of the names that Josta told you, and you could be seeing those guys in the starting 11 come that Carling Cup match on the 1st of August. Gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for joining us right here on the Sisonke Diski Chat. And my name is Len Moleko, and like I said, we're going to be bringing them back on just after the Carling Cup, and just to see how the season is going to go. Somebody's got his armory ready. Another one is at the shops shopping. I don't We'll just see how it goes. Anyway, on that note, I'm out of here. I will see you again on the next episode of the Sisonke Diski Chat.
Sharp, sharp.
Sharp.